All right, we are ready, man. So we're going to continue with the last class. We're going to do a few things that just have some conversations, see what's up. And I need someone who identifies as Latino or Latina or Latinx or Hispanic to volunteer. Or we'd like someone to volunteer who identifies. Bro, how about, can I go with this guy? Bro, you're on, man. So, by the way, we're just starting, for those who weren't here the other day, what's your name?
I'm Justin.
Justin? Dude, you can have a seat on the table, man. I'm going to explain what you're up here for. So, if you weren't here the other day, one of the things I'd like to do at the beginning of class is just kind of get a sense of what you all know about certain things and give you examples or show you how these case studies work. And the case studies happen when we bring people down into the front of class and they speak about some issue that we're talking about. And remember that the idea here is I'm putting stuff up that for the most part I don't expect any of you to have much to say about them. So, therefore, we're always going to be, no matter what they say, anybody says, we're going to be really kind. Don't jump on Twitter and start, making noise and so on. We're going to be really kind. And the reason we're asking, I just want to start out with questions that I don't expect you to know answers to, because if you knew the answers to these kinds of things that I'm going to put up, what would be the purpose of being in this class? You know what I mean? And we learn by speaking out loud. Like me, I've learned the most as a teacher by teaching, not by reading, but by teaching. So having to take ideas and voice them and try to make sense of them. So, Justin, where's talking to the mic now?
Hello.
All right, where's your family from?
I have family from Puerto Rico and then the Dominican Republic.
In the DR? And do you speak Spanish?
I used to, not anymore.
What happened, man?
I don't know. I just kind of got lost in the sauce.
Yeah. You know
Unfortunately.
why? It's because you go by Justin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, all right. So listen, man, here's yours. Tell the class about what this is. Give them a sense of what it is, and imagine that you're me, and you're not going to put your opinion in here.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask somebody. Well, hang on. Just explain it to the class in a minute and a half or so, as comprehensively as you can without politicizing it.
All right. So along the border between the U.S. and Mexico, there is a fence. It's not really a complete wall yet, but it's a fence right now for some parts of it. And yeah, it's to keep it from people getting in illegally. So I think getting into whichever country people are moving from. You got to do it the right way.
And where is the fence?
Between the U.S. and Mexico.
And how? What's the fence? So what's the issue with people coming illegally?
Well, I would say the issue would be illegally. Yeah. But
what's it mean to be illegal? What are we talking about?
Well, to get into the country illegally would be to not go through, customs or anything like that when trying to get over, whether you're going from Mexico to the United States or from the United States to Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the fence, why is it such a hot button political issue?
Well, I would say it's such a hot button issue because the whole idea of someone coming into the country illegally is kind of being used as a way to take away people's rights at this wall, at these checkpoints as well.
Uh-huh. What do you mean?
I mean, for example, all the camps where the kids are being held and stuff along the wall.
Uh-huh.
So
kids? Kids? What kids?
Kids from Mexico.
Uh-huh. All right, man. Who has a question? For Justin, right, bro?
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Cancelleri.
Cancelleri?
Yeah.
Who has a question for Justin? About the border wall. What do you want to know? What do you need to know? What else do you need to know, man? Do you know everything you need to know? Bro, do you know everything? Dude, what question do you have? It's like, who's got a question?
He's got a question.
All right, man. Dude.
Why do you feel like the border wall is being enforced in the way that it is? And what do you think is a way to mitigate all of the backlash that comes from it?
What was the last part of that question?
What ways do you think you can mitigate the backlash that comes out from the border wall?
I think that the border wall is like, it's being used in the way it is because it's being used as a way to enforce a narrative against a certain group of people, which is that, you know, Mexicans are not good people, which is not true because we're all human beings. But that's the narrative, like, that's being told underlying, in my opinion.
So you nodded to that, right? Did you all notice, did you watch where he just took a turn to the political? He just politicized it right there. Did you hear that? But you agree with it probably, right? What did you agree with?
I mean, yeah, just the fact that there's like dehumanization when it comes to Mexicans and the border wall, and just seeing that they're criminals or they're going to bring criminal activity, they're illegal, they're undocumented.
So why do you think that narrative, why do you think some people would want to push that narrative? Nice question, by the way, bro. Don't be political right here.
All right, I'm gonna try.
All right.
I guess some people might push that narrative because of their underlying bias, maybe. I guess underlying like issues of things like from the past that are still like present in people's ideologies today.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
So.
These are I'm not sure how I would have answered that question. So that's a really, yeah. And once again, listen, you're hearing from classmates, and in the process of hearing from classmates, you should be sitting there thinking, hey, man, if I give you the microphone, what would you say? Or if I give you the microphone, bro, what would you say? Right? That's what I want you thinking right now. What are you going to say? Dude, why do you think some people want to have that narrative? I'm going to do it with this guy right here.
Bro, I don't know.
You don't know?
I wouldn't say like it's necessarily a narrative that kind of enforces that need for a wall. It's more of the kind of what they're taking from the government. I mean, more of like if they're not paying for their fair share, then someone else has to pick up the pieces.
Okay, so it gets complicated here. Dude, nice, man. All right, so there's another piece of it, right? You see, like, all this stuff has to come in together. Bro, did you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, man. Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
You got it.
Thank you.
Nice job. Yeah. See, you even got applause for that. That was impressive. All right, let's do another one, man. Oh, no. Okay. Listen, I need 2 international students. I need 2 international students. I need 2 international students. Someone from the Middle East, first off. Who's from the Middle East? Give me someone from the Middle East. And then someone from Asia. China's ideal. Can I, hang on. I would like to have, we would like to have a volunteer. Wait, where are you from? From China? All right, man. And do we have someone from the Middle East? Bro, you want to come up? All right, man, come on. All right. So remember, you guys, we're just going to ask you to... What's your name?
Omar.
Omar?
Yeah.
What's your name?
I can go by Frost.
Frost?
Yeah.
Dude.
Not my legal name, though.
No, hang on. Have a seat. You guys can have a seat up here. I'm assuming it's not, just by looking at you, right? Is it Omar or Omer?
Omar.
Omar, where are you from?
Egypt.
Egypt?
Yeah.
And where are you from?
China.
From China?
Yeah.
What's your Mandarin? What's your Chinese name?
My Chinese name is called Shen Sen Ni.
What is it?
Shen Sen Ni.
You got that? Say that.
That's why I go by Frost.
No, it's all good. No, he can do it.
Say it again.
圣森尼.
Xing Xing Li? Is that
Yeah, that's close.
Xing Xing Li?
It's not close,
Butchered
my
it.
friend. You're just trying to be nice up here.
Yeah, that's how we do things.
All right. Exactly, as you're taking over the world. All right. All right, so here's what I want the two of you to talk about. That. Tell the class what that is.
All right.
And like the kind of ins and outs of that, and like, wait, hey, where? And we're going to go with Frost here.
I have absolutely no idea what that is.
Go take a guess.
I'm not quite sure.
Should I chime in?
No, hang on. What do
Here we
you
go.
think it might? Have you ever heard that before? The
I
NBomb?
think I heard the NBomb, the word, but I don't know what that means.
Okay, well, let's say it's not the NBomb. What's another way to say it? The N word.
I think I know that.
Okay.
Because in Mandarin we have in Mandarin we say the word that. It sounds very close to that N word.
Yeah.
So
What is it?
You want me to say it in Mandarin?
Yeah, in Mandarin.
So in Mandarin, if you want to say like that apple,
Yeah.
it sounds like 那个苹果. Sometimes if the that is 那个, but sometimes we say it really fast, it sounds like the N word.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like not phonetically.
Yeah, if we say that really quick, 那个. Sometimes
Okay, all right.
那个. So it sounds really close.
Okay, I got
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true. It's not. I'm not being like an asshole here, but that's how it works, you know. That's how it works. Like when you say it really fast, it sounds like that.
All right. Okay, bro, what would you give? Well, hey, that's good. Thanks, man.
So this is a like super interesting topic because like it always teeters between like freedom of speech and just like the context of that word historically. I know internationally it's used like I would say like pretty commonly with people of color in particular, but I
You
know
mean in other countries?
yeah, I would say. I mean, because like, there's a lot of exposure to American media via rap or shows, and so it sort of morphs itself into people's vernacular. But you find that it's a much bigger issue here. But I feel like it's a very avoidable issue for people who are not black. But yeah, other people.
So when you say it morphs into a certain vernacular,
Yeah.
is that whose vernacular? What do you mean?
No, I mean like.
Like in Arabic?
No, just like with people who are exposed to Western media
Okay, I got
from these countries, like because they're not exposed to the history of the word, they don't know it as anything more beyond something you would say to an endearing friend. The education that lies behind the use of
Yeah.
the word within like
So
slavery.
do you speak Arabic?
I do,
fluently?
yeah.
Yeah. The Egyptian Arabic?
Yeah.
Okay, what's a word in Arabic that's kind of equivalent to the N word? In Arabic, not about the N word. I mean, just a word that's equivalent. That if somebody uses it to the wrong group, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's like the Arabic version of the N-word, and obviously it's interesting being from Egypt because it's an African country, but it's also like North African, and so it's a touching point for a lot of cultures. And so if I in the past have been called like the N-word via Arabic or other languages, and it still sucks, you know. But yeah.
So is there a word though in Arabic that used not regarding people of African ancestry? I mean,
Okay.
just a word like maybe toward the Omanis, the Yemenis, or something that's like a word that people use that's just really problematic.
I feel like it's less race-based, and
Yeah.
like something that people say in Egypt is like if they want to call someone stupid, they call him a falah, which means farmer.
Farmer.
Yeah, and it's problematic because it's not racist, but it's like super classist. Because then you're attributing all these negative, like what do you call it? Like negative ideas around like an honest group of people, right?
Yeah. Are there any farmers in the room? Farm families? Anybody? Yeah, it's really interesting, by the way, that when I started teaching this class, over 25 years ago, if I had said, "Hey, are there any people from farm families in the room?" a lot of hands would go up, and so it's quite interesting how that. Bro, how about Mr. Frost. Yeah. How about in Mandarin? Is there a word that similarly, if you use it towards somebody, not regarding the N word, right, but just another word toward a particular groups, like the Wei words or something, or like, is there a word that you use that's just really bad?
If you speak in Mandarin, it's hard to target certain group of people in China, but in some dialect, I think, in certain region of China, it's like really horrible. But I can think of a word in Chinese. It's like an N word. It's basically some bad word. So
You can or you can't?
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other Mandarin speakers who can think of a word?
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you could say in Mandarin? What's the worst thing you could call somebody? Like me, if you wanted to talk about your professor who you really hated, what would you call me?
I don't know. We have too much words can say to bad people. We have too much words can say for a bad thing or bad people.
No, it's kind of interesting. Like swearing. Well, I remember in the past I've done an entire class just on swearing, right? Because it's really fascinating. Like in Colombia, there's a phrase. I think it's probably in other countries, but I only know it in Colombia. Nos llevó el putas, and it basically. Who's Colombian? Where's my Colombian person? Nos llevó el putas, right? You've heard it. It's pretty. How bad is that? If I just was standing up or going like, "Yo, class, nos llevó el putas."
It's like pretty much like we're too deep down. Like it's so bad.
Like we're fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, but it means literally like they sent us to the prostitutes, but in this case it's the devil.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, and so we were my wife and I were speaking. So you live in Colombia, right?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife and I were speaking. We were giving a talk to this peace, to the Peace Commission, the Truth Commission in Colombia about a year ago.
Okay.
And we're in this room and it's being filmed and so on. And I learned this phrase ahead of time because I love swear words and stuff, right? I just love playing because it means something different. Like I can say all sorts of things in other languages. They don't mean anything to me because it's not my language. So it's like you don't know, right? Like the NBomb. People can just say it and they don't really understand what it is, right? So I was going to say this because I was talking to this group of people and basically we were talking about peace and truth and I wanted to say basically we're all screwed. And I looked at my friends who were sitting in the back and they knew I was going to say it and I hey, can you put me on the front camera and give me a close up? And so I looked at them like I'm just ready to put it. And my friends are cool, like they're funny and stuff. And so these are some really important people in the room. But I'm like, I'm me. You know what I mean? When I'm in another culture, I'm still me. And I look at them and I start saying, and they both went like this. They went. And I said, okay, so that means that whatever it is. And they told me, this is just really bad. You don't want to say this, right? Which, of course, makes me want to say it. But and they just both said, don't say it. Even though it was the perfect moment for me to say it. And so, but I didn't. I just said, all right, I won't. Yeah. Okay, so the NBomb. So why do you think it's the NBomb? Like it's the N word, but it's the NBomb. Wait.
I mean, because... you ruin your social life pretty badly if you get caught saying it in public, I guess.
What do you think about the fact that that a lot of people of African ancestry still say it?
I think that's an interesting take, and you can be like, oh, like you shouldn't say it at all, like no one should say it, but like I don't think that's the determination of the group outside of those oppressed to tell them, oh, you can't use this word that was used against you, right? Like I think the whole idea is that, oh, we've taken it back and we've sort of repurposed the word, and I think that's like completely up to that community. You can't be like, oh, either all of us can say it or none of us can say it, because like life is much more complicated than these sort of absolutist statements, I guess.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yeah, I agree with him. At first, I think for non-African American communities, if we say that, it's like I think I personally think it's quite offensive. I don't think it's respectful, but for their own communities, I think they won't say it. They can say it because they represent themselves, and I think they're pretty cool because they can take some kind of word which is at first humiliate them, but they take it by themselves and use it.
Yeah.
So I think they're pretty cool because our Chinese, we will not say like, hey chinks, we will not say like that, right? Stay yellow. No, we are not doing that. But they can take others' humiliation, become their own positive energy. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you first hear chink as a word?
I think during my high school when I still in China, because sometimes, some celebrities in Hollywood, sometimes they post some, stuff which humiliate like Chinese Asians. So the news will report it. So I saw it. Yeah. So for example, the typical stuff is like they think Chinese people are always small eyes,
Wait, hang on, let me see.
Yeah, but actually, I think my eyes are pretty big.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hang on, can you do a close-up? Let's let the class...
That's the case. Actually, our eyes are pretty big, right?
Well, hang on, we're going to let the... Can we take your head off? Yeah, do that. All right. It's a bad hair day, y'all.
Second, they all call Ching Chongs. I mean, yeah.
All right. Dude, awesome. Anybody have a question, by the way? Any black people have a question? I mean, I could just let black people answer this question, but what's the point of that? You know what I mean? Let them in. Anybody have a question? Anybody? Can I just get one? I want one black person to ask a question about dropping the NBomb. Who wants to? How about something challenging? They're saying all the right stuff. Come on, man. Can you just get something? All right, man. Here we go. Well, you're African too, right? Yes. The NBomb is different for you. Wait, where's your family from?
My family's from Nigeria.
Nigeria?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, man.
All right. So my question is that in front of all these people, it's easy to be like, yeah, it's their word. They could use it, they could repurpose it, and it's cool. But when it's only you and your friends and there's no black people there, I mean, I would think it's really easy to be like, yo, what's good, my nigga, and shit like that. You feel me? So are you just saying this because it sounds nice for other people to hear, or is it when it's only you and your guys, you're like, what's good, my nigga?
Wait, hang on. Let's start with Frost. Oh wait. Yeah, go ahead.
So I didn't hear very clearly. So basically you think, during the public, maybe we will not say it because we know it's offensive, but you think maybe in private situation we will say it because no one else will know it? Did you mean that?
Well, yeah. Would you do that? What about that?
Well, I will be honest. I will not do that because from China here, I'm also a minority, so I want to be respected. So the respect is two ways. So I will respect other people too. So I will not do that. Even it's not public, but thank you. But it all depends. It all depends on yourself. So some people may do it, some people may not do it, because just like I mentioned before, in Chinese, when we say that, it sounds like the N word. And sometimes when I go out with my Chinese friends, classmates, and when some African Americans around us, I sometimes get a little bit nervous because might be some misunderstandings, but I will even try to avoid say that in Chinese. But as long as your shots are good, you are not doing that, you're fine, I think.
All right. You, bro?
I think that's a very fair question, and obviously it's easy to be like, oh, you should never say it and all that, and then in private do whatever. But I think it's important for people to maintain consistency because people aren't switches. You can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna use this word in this very private setting, and then I'm just gonna never use it in public. Because the moment where you get angry, the moment where things get rough, you're just gonna pull it from the back of your head, and it's not a place you want to be. And also English language is expansive enough for you to use a million other substitutes. So I mean.
All right. So listen now. All right, that's cool. But hang on, I just want to put a challenge out here for a second for you, Omar.
Go for it.
So, see, Egypt's always been part of Africa, and obviously not the subcontinent and sub-Saharan Africa. I mean, but it's part of Africa, but part of what we've experienced in the past 30 years or so is a real push on the part of people in the black community, especially the intellectuals in the black community, to really say, no, bring Egypt back into Africa, and really insisting that Egypt is part of Africa, which means then you're part of Africans. You're African. Mm-hmm. And so what's that mean in terms of him being able to drop the NBomb, even though he's Egyptian, right? So see, it's like we push him back around, and it's like, hey, wait, hang on a second. You know, you're not from sub-Saharan Africa, but nonetheless, right? So it's just one of these kind of interesting things. All right, thanks, man. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. You guys did great. Hey, that's cool, right? So you see, like, what's interesting for me, what I do, by the way, this isn't how the whole semester is going to go, you know what I mean? It would be actually kind of nice, because then I wouldn't have to do anything. I just bring you all up, ask you questions, and have you teach yourselves. But it's really nice to take the opportunity to do this in the beginning, just to kind of get a sense of what some of the conversations will be, and who's in the room, and so many differences, different perspectives, different people. And to see how much you really know. Like, you all just, like, they said some really, really cool things. Like, I don't say many cool things, actually. So, but, okay. Okay, man, we're going to do the next one. And we need a Christian. Hey, someone who's, like, really Christian. And, bro, is that you? All right, man. Yeah, you don't look like a Christian for some reason. I don't know. All right. I thought they were frat letters. Those aren't frat letters. All right, because I was going to say that would just sort of like cancel your Christianity out right there, man. All right. What's your name?
I'm Alex.
Were you down here before?
No.
You weren't? All right, Alex?
Yeah.
So Alex the Christian. What do you mean you're a Christian? When you say you're a Christian, what's that mean?
So I'm not a denominational Christian, so I'm on the Protestant side of it. So I'm not a big Catholic guy personally. But it's pretty much, I believe in Jesus, gave my life to him, got baptized and all that stuff. So
when did you get baptized?
Sophomore year of high school at a bathtub and at a student leader retreat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, it's standard Christian stuff, man.
Yeah.
All right. Dude, so are you a Christian? Are you one of these Christians like that?
It gets me a little bit to get there, but like I can definitely get to that point.
Dude, I get there all the time, man. I just
it definitely can happen.
There's nothing like being in a church with rockin' music, killer bass players, awesome drummers. Like, you get the rhythm section going, and you start. Oh, I'm like dancing in the aisles and stuff. I love it. Okay, here's what I want you to do. Anyway, cool. Thanks for coming up. So say what you know, like how you would say that in a way that, you know.
So a lot of times with this context, it's kind of sad because it paints a big picture of just the whole Muslim and Islamic community in general. Because this can even be applied to Christians with like our classic Willard preacher that likes to be outside the hub of where you have a person who will take whatever the religious reading or books or whatever it may be, and they'll take it to the next step, and a lot of times take things out of context as well, to where it can be an actual detriment to society as a whole rather than the good that the religion is actually trying to achieve.
Mm-hmm. So what is it? Who are the folks? So say a little more.
A lot of times
so you just frame the context, right?
So a lot of times you can associate, at least in terms of Islamic radicalists, as terrorists. Those are going to be your classic examples of like your really, really extreme versions. And then you can still have your extreme versions, but they're not going to be your terrorists. I'm going to go and blow something up, or I'm going to go and try and kill other people who don't agree with what I believe in. You can just have the people that are like, hey, this is what I believe. I'm very stern about it. And if you don't like it, so be it. I really don't care. I'm just going to argue and say what you believe isn't true regardless.
Okay. All right, cool, man. Who's got a question for Alex, right?
Yep.
Who's got a question for Alex about Islamic radicalism? Who wants to throw a question out there? Dude, come on. Wait, you were up there the other day, right? No, not you, man. Someone else who hasn't asked a question. All right, man.
Do you think that term came
Wait, what's
from...
your name?
Oh, Colin.
Colin.
Do you think that term came from the West, like West culture, or like the Middle East?
Dude, nice question.
I would personally say it's more of a Western ideology. I don't know personally too much about, like I learned Middle Eastern history in high school and stuff, but I personally don't know enough about their societal history and all that good stuff to actually tell you if that is where it did originate. I know we do have like the Arabic alphabet and stuff, so there's a good chance that it did, but due to how heavy the influence is of Western cultures, I would not be surprised if that is where the term came from.
All right, man. Who's got a question for him? Who wants to throw a question out? You have a question?
No.
Come on. Who's got a question? Bro, you gotta have a question, huh? You look like a thoughtful guy with a lot of questions.
No, I'm good.
You're good? Who's got a question, man? Yo, what's he not talking about? What's he not saying? What's a question that you just had? Like if that were me up there and I said, hey, we're going to talk about Islamic radicals. Wait, hang on one second. I got a guy right here.
All right. I'm Anthony, by the way. What's the line that separates from being a regular Muslim to being radical? What would you say is a defining factor?
Oh, my God, dude. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah. Well, here, let me ask the question. Flip it to Christians. What's the line? Because there are radical Christians, right? There are radical Christians who are like not only radical, but radical violent.
Yeah.
What's the line for radical Christians?
I think the biggest thing, I guess, in terms of Christianity is when you take something out of context and then you take that out of context item and that becomes almost what your core value is. Not everything else that it's trying to preach or include, but just taking that one fact that everyone should be a Christian, for example. Like if you're not or you're not white, like there's so many things.
No, go with it. If you're not a Christian,
yes,
then...
like if you're not a Christian, then I've seen people, for example, Willard Preacher, there's a whole group of people that came and were arguing about, what was it? I think it was just everything in general. I don't know if you all remember. It was in fall semester. They're causing a real ruckus outside the hub one day. But like stuff like that is what you would consider radicalism, when they're just trying to force their skewed version of the belief onto you rather than sitting there calmly listening to what you have to say and just wanting to know what your thoughts are. Because the whole point of whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever your belief may be is not to sit there and tell someone you're wrong. Yeah. At least from a Christian view, you're told to love on people and stuff, and that means listening to them, caring about them, and as humans, we love to be heard and listened to, and if you can't do that, then that's going to cause a lot of problems and a lot of debates, really angry conversations and stuff.
Cool. Hey, listen, cool. Thanks, man. Mm-hmm. And let me just say the following. Regarding the first question, the term actually, so I spent a lot of time in the Middle East, and I spent a lot of time dealing with this issue. And it's kind of like with Christianity. There's a very tiny slice of Muslims that are radical in their belief system, very tiny slice of Christians. So the word really, it's talked about more in the Middle East than it is talked about here. It may seem like, well, this is a West thing, and it's like, the West and America, the United States comes up with this, and because that's how we are, because we're a racist, all that kind of left, kind of critical perspective. But in fact, in Muslim countries, it's a very common conversation to talk about, radical ideologies and the problems with radical ideologies. So, dude, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I have
Wait.
one more question.
Nah, we're gonna pass. We got
right, thank
wait.
you.
All right, wait. Do you have a question? Wait, who was it? Who was it?
Me. I was going to ask that if you think that radical Islam gets unproportionally more coverage in the media than, say, radical Judaism or Christianity.
Oh, for certain. Just because the whole, especially with American media, how it's very good at skewing things. Like you have all your different news outlets, like you have your Fox
Hang on.
News.
All media is good at skewing things.
Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
all of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like you have certain ones that are good at skewing it one way or skewing it the other way. So when you're really able to sit there and be like, oh, and especially how nationalistic and patriotic America is, the instant something happens to an American, whether on American soil or somewhere else in the world, and it's somehow religious based, everyone in America will be up in arms, no questions asked. That's just how, unfortunately, it is around here.
Okay, I just want to say something about that really fast. One of the things you're going to get in this class, I definitely take an international perspective on lots of things, and I've lived around the world in many places and so on. And that is true from the perspective of the U.S., but it's also true from other countries. So every country I'm in, they're going to focus on their one person that gets killed in another country, and they're going to talk about the one thing that affects them that's happening overseas and so on. So yeah, we do that. And so does most every other country in the world, because that's the nature of things, right? Your media is going to really highlight the things here. And so one of the things I want to say to the people who in the room who are much more on the left, and you kind of have that, and you're of a certain age, right? That you have a kind of a critical, it's like you got to go through those teenage years when you're critical of your parents. If you don't go through a period where you hate your parents, it's almost problematic. There's got to be a moment. It might only be a day, but you got to have a moment when you just really don't like your family and so on, right? Well, same with your country, and that's part of this age. And so sometimes we get really critical, but we get critical before we travel outside, spend a lot of time outside the United States, and see that, you know what, this is kind of happening in lots of places. It's not just my country. We're not the most racist, the most whatever it is, Hey, I'm going to come back. I want to get different perspectives on this, but I want to keep going because I don't want to belabor it too much. But it's cool. We're going to come back to this. We're going to talk about this. We'll have an opportunity. So, bro, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, so one of the things... the comment I'm making about look, one of the things that I have learned in the years of trying to becoming someone who wants to be a thinker, who wants to think about things and kind of really wants to swim upstream, right? Like when everybody else is thinking this way, I learned at a certain age in my life, if everyone else is thinking like this, it's a good reason for me to pull off to the side and let them all swim that way, and let me not necessarily. I used to go the opposite direction. So when I was young and more radical in my thinking, what I learned was, well, I'm not going to go this way. I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So then it was everything against everything around me, against white people, against men, against straight people, against rich people, against Americans, against the U.S., against whatever it is. It doesn't matter, right? And so then I just did that because, I just became, I started to see hypocrisy and things around me. And so I didn't want to go again, right? So I went in the opposite direction. But then after traveling in the opposite direction and then going around the world and seeing things and talking to people and thinking more critically, I realized, wait a minute, these people in this direction don't have the answer either, right? So then I had to just kind of pull off to the side and say, I don't know where the answer is. These people don't have it and these people don't have it, and I have to just start thinking for myself. And so that's kind of my comment about, being young and kind of, it's good to rebel at some level. Like, it's good, you rebel a little bit, but it's also good to think. All right, man. So I would like to bring up a couple women. Ideally, an international woman. And do you want to? No, you're not. That's all right. How about you? You raise your hand, and somebody else, someone more at the top, someone who's not from the United States. Who? Wait. Oh my gosh. No, I know. Let me wait. Hold tight. I just saw somebody. Hey, how about someone who's who wears a hijab? Are you from the U.S. or are you international? From the U.S. Well, anybody else who wearing a hijab? We could. Well, let me just go. Do you want to do it? You want to come up? Okay. All right. And you, what's your name?
I'm Katie.
Katie, where are you from?
Belfont, so right up the
Belfont?
road.
And
I'm Iman.
Iman. Yep. And where are you from?
Maryland.
Maryland. And the Maryland crowd. Where's your, what's your ancestry?
Pakistani.
Pakistani? Okay, so Katie and Iman.
Yep.
Okay, Katie, you're going to start. Just tell us everything you know about black women's hair.
So I don't know much, but I know there's a huge issue going around about whether black women's hair should be able to be worn naturally, or the stigma surrounding whether they wear a weave or if they wear it naturally, if it's considered unprofessional or what. But I don't know much about people's opinions.
About what do you know about how people choose to wear their hair, how they wear their hair, how they get their hair to do certain things? Or
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah?
Iman,
no, go ahead.
I know that the workplace, women in the workplace, I've read that they tend to feel more comfortable if they have their hair done a certain way, rather than it being natural. But I don't know if that's how the women in the audience feel.
Yeah. Okay, how about you?
I think it's pretty, and there's a lot of different ways you can wear it. And I think, I had a roommate last year who was African American, and I just really respect her because she had to put so much work into getting her hair to look good because her hair was really curly. But yeah, I don't really know.
Anything else?
I guess, yeah, there's kind of a stigma, I don't know, maybe people judge someone the wrong way if her hair is braided versus it being straight, I guess.
Hey,
yeah.
what? Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. Yep.
I don't think I have anything else.
All right. What would be? How could you offend? Wait, hang on. Amari, where are you here? Can you come off? Come on. Do we have another microphone? Here, you can move down just a little bit. Can you sit? No, I want to have Amari sit in the center.
Why gotta be in the?
Because you're in the center, man. You are in the center. Thanks, man.
Hey, sir.
I saw you sitting there somewhere. I knew you were somewhere. Hey, and where are you from?
I'm from DC.
DC. All right. So listen, what do you think if you said or asked her about, what do you think you could ask her about her hair that would be offensive? Amari here. Look at her hair.
I'm not gonna lie.
No.
I don't know. I feel like if I were to ask you if you were wearing a weave, that would be offensive. I don't know though.
You think that might be offensive if you asked her what's a weave?
I'll be honest. I don't know. I think it's kind of like a wig, but
Okay.
I honestly have no clue.
All right. What do you think could be offensive if you asked Amari about her hair?
Maybe if I asked her if that's her real hair.
If you asked if it's her real hair?
I feel like that could be rude. I feel like actually that might be the same thing as she was kind of saying.
It might be offensive?
Yeah.
What's that? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Would
the
that
same
be,
thing,
wait, what did you say?
It's the same thing, I guess, because I guess if it wasn't real, part of it would be a weave. So so I guess.
Okay, so you're covering your hair.
Yeah.
And what's behind covering your hair?
So in Islam, it's preferred that women cover their hair, and it represents modesty, And so like we cover our hair, like I wear to like my wrist and like my ankles. So it's like represents modesty in our religion.
Okay, so Amari, what do you think would be offensive if you asked Iman? What might be offensive to ask her about her hair?
I feel like from a religion standpoint, it would be offensive if I asked, like, could you take it off, or are you Muslim, or are you praying, something like that. But as a black woman, I don't think there's anything offensive I can ask her.
What about questions of, okay, that's cool. What about questions of style? Or like, does she like her hair? Or
I mean, honestly, I would ask if she do it, because I would never see it. So I feel like it would be offensive if I asked, like, hey, do you wash your hair? Do you do it? Because I feel like as a black woman, we do our hair.
Oh, so you would ask, do you wash it?
And do you do it, like, what type of style do you wear? Like, do you just wash it and put it on? Do you wash it and braid it? Like, how does it look underneath?
So essentially, basically, you would never ask her about her hair then? Yeah. Maybe not asking about your hair would be offensive, right? Is that like?
I mean, I don't really care if people
I don't mean
I put it in a bun, like.
Hang on. When I use offensive, by the way, class, the ladder for me for something to be offensive, the ladder from the first step on the ladder is really, really high. Like I can say a lot of things and ask a lot of things that for me are not in any way offensive and other people might. So when I ask, I'm using that word offensive here. I'm not using it. I'm using it the way you all use it. Hang on one second, bro. I'm not using it the way that I would use it. So what is there a way in which people not even asking you about your hair is like?
Not really. I mean, honestly, I guess I'd like almost rather prefer someone asked if they have a question about it, because then I can like use that as an opportunity to just like tell them about it.
How do people ask?
Like not really that often at all, honestly.
So never. Basically.
Yeah.
All
like
right.
people ask more. If people ask questions, it's more just like, yeah, like when do you take it off, or like do you shower with it on? Like obviously.
Do you shower? People ask if you shower with it on.
Yeah. I
What do
don't
you
even
say
know
to
how
that?
that would work. I'm like no.
No, you should say yes. Of course I
Yeah.
do. I can't have. People might see me in the shower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Are they
can't
like?
have that.
Yeah. Are they like? A good question is like when they ask like who you can take it off around or something. Like.
That's a cool question.
Yeah, that's like a good question.
So I want to go back to him.
Question.
You go ahead.
How is that asking about your hair? It's more so asking about like your hijab itself. It's kind of
Yeah.
like when you're in the presence of men, can you do this? But what do people ask you like about your actual hair?
Well, probably the way I wear it is like a lot looser than like a lot of people wear it. So like my hair is like always showing right here. So I guess sometimes people ask like why I wear it this way as opposed to like tighter in my face kind of. And that's just because like I don't want something squeezing my face all day. Like I just like to wear it like this.
So here, can we just say this really fast, and then I want you to talk, Amari, for a hot minute. So just like in all religions and all perspectives, you know, there's like a big line of differences, right? So people are much more conservative or much more liberal, and so you know you are much more liberal in your style. You're showing hair, and like there are other women many women who wear hijab and wouldn't show any hair whatsoever. But increasingly, the world is getting more liberal. Right. Hey, so I want to go back to the weave piece. So she said, hey, is that a weave? Like, can you just tell us a little bit tell us about your hair?
Well, I
Can
feel
you get
like
can we get a close-up of Amari?
I feel like as a black woman, we can change our hair in many different types of hairstyles as often as you want. Like on Monday, I can be Mari. On Tuesday, I can be Amari. On Wednesday, I can be Ari. And on Thursday, I can be somebody. And on Friday, I can be somebody, because that's like the beauty in black woman hair to me. So I feel like if I wear a weave, that's like, do you want me to explain what a weave is?
She would like to know what a weave is.
So a weave is there's no black people. Oh, okay. A weave is like when there's like extensions and it's straight down. When I wear weaves, I usually wear like a frontal, so it's like there's like 3 bundles of weaves and like a frontal in the front part, so there's none of my hair out, like all my hair is braided. Or you can wear like a wig, and what the difference between a wig and a weave is you can just take your wig off whenever you want, whereas a weave is kind of like sewn in, so you're not taking it off like often. Or you can get braids. So like there's a couple of different braids. Like they have their hair both in two different braiding styles. I have my hair in a braiding style, which are looking like locks. You can get cornrows. That's what I get all the time. You can wear your hair out. There's a lot of different options.
So I have a couple. First off, I just got to ask a really quick question. How often do people ask you about your hair? How often do, let's say, just you, how often do people ask you about your hair?
Never.
Never?
I mean, sometimes I wear my hair like Dutch braided back, and people ask me if I did it myself, but not to like the same extent, you know?
So, Amari, what do you know about what she does to her hair to take care of it?
Well, my freshman year, my roommate was white, and she used to wash her hair and go outside to class when it's like 4 degrees. So I do know that living with, her name was Anna, living with her, they wash their hair a lot, like in the shower.
They? You mean
As
white
in
people?
white women, yes. White women wash their hair a lot.
White men, too?
I don't know about, I never
Those
lived
of
with a
us
white
who
man,
have
Sam.
much hair, but the rest of us.
But as far as white women, they wash their hair a lot and they go outside with it wet.
Yeah.
Yes.
And smell like wet dogs?
I don't know what it smells like. I'm not
All right,
about to
okay, I
walk
got
up
you.
like. But I know that is
What's
wet.
it tell you, though? What's it tell you?
I don't know. I just think that as a black woman, I would never go outside with my hair wet because, one, my hair is like 4C, so I can't really let my hair air dry because it's going to be so nappy.
Do you know what 4C is?
No.
Yeah? Do you know what 4C is? Yeah. Bro, do you know what 4C is? You know what it means? How many white
Is that
people
how
in here?
curly it is?
Let me, what, go ahead.
Like, is that how curly it is?
Yeah, it's like the curl pattern of your hair. Okay. So this is getting it.
That's
Yeah,
I
that's
was
pretty
thinking that. I was thinking.
You're thinking that too? Hey, give her a high five too. She was thinking it.
She didn't say it though. Like, you got to say it.
All right. So listen, man. Yeah, we need a couple questions, man. Bro, you had a question earlier. Do you still have the same question, or have we passed by? Sometimes we just go by. We're good? No, you still have it? All right, man.
Can I ask as to why you felt the need to say, as a white woman, as a black woman?
As a black woman, what?
That you can't say anything offensive about her hair.
Wait, repeat that?
Before we were commenting on her hair, because we had it on you, but then he changed it to her.
Oh, to
I can't remember.
Iman.
Yeah.
In the hijab.
Yes. So you said, as a black woman, I can't say anything offensive, almost.
To
some,
yeah, that's
to
what
some
I
extent.
said.
So why do you feel as though your skin color gives you the opportunity to say something
Well, okay, so I get your question.
controversial?
I get your
to an
question.
extent?
Awesome question.
I think that if you guys were listening, I said that as a Christian, I can offend her because we're different religions. But as a black woman, we don't question other women's hair. So it was nothing that I can ask her that's really offensive because I wouldn't ask anything.
Could you offend her?
No, because I wouldn't ask about her hair either.
You wouldn't ask about her hair?
Yeah, no.
So you can't offend because you're not asking.
Yeah.
So like she can't offend, they can't offend you if they don't ask you anything. Same thing.
And I wouldn't look at their hair like, oh, she's wearing a hijab, or oh, her hair is straight. Like, I wouldn't do that. But for as black people, we walking out like in the office with our hair out or in a bun or in a color, it's like everybody's looking. So that's offensive in itself without even saying anything.
But dude, but can I just say something though about that? The three of you, okay, so hang on, just look around the room. Look at all of the black women in here and all the different hairstyles, right? And I'm gonna speak for these two women and for me. And it's different for me because I have a lot of experience. But it's like the average person like you have no idea, right? And so are you curious? You're curious?
I would ask a question, Sam.
Yep.
For all the black women in the room, if you guys were to walk in and like you saw a white woman or Asian woman or anything with pink hair, would you look and stare?
How about blue hair?
What about blue hair? What about orange hair? What about green?
Wait, what's that? You dye yours half of the colors?
It's pink right now. It was
Hang
orange
on.
before. It was red. It was hot pink. My sister's hair was blue and green. So I'm used to like different colors.
Yeah.
So like when people always asking me if I see a white girl with like blue hair, I don't think twice about it.
What do you think? So what do you think is? Let me just Can I ask you, I actually have a question I want to ask. What do you think is the most important, just like one thing that is really, yeah, can you pass that down? First off, you say what you were going to say, and then I have a question for you. Okay. What's your name?
Jada.
Jada.
Yeah.
Can you just stand? I want to make sure the camera picks you up because, you know. Oh, you don't have to stand. We can get it. Get it. Make sure you get Jada in yellow. All right. Go ahead, Jada.
As a black woman, like, how do you feel about like other races using our hairstyles?
Dude.
I don't like when like the whole thing on Twitter. Well, everybody know like Kim Kardashian and the Kardashians.
Nah,
right?
Never heard of her, dude.
You do.
Go ahead.
Like me personally, I'm not like, I don't do hair, and I'm not really big on hair. I just wear my hair whenever I want to, and I usually just wear wigs all the time because it's easier. But I don't like when like Kim Kardashian and other women like that like get braids in their hair and stuff like that, because I feel like people say it was just a hairstyle. I think it's deeper than that because it kind of goes on to our culture and who we are as black women, because it's kind of, to me, it's like blackface. Like, you know, sort of like when companies do like blackface, I feel like it's that with the same thing as hairstyles. Like, why are you wearing your hair like that?
So one of the big things that, like, it's all about wigs, man, these days, right? Am I right? Wigs are like a really big deal these days. Coming back. Like wigs and eyelashes. Like, it's awesome.
Are you
like,
talking about my lashes, Sam?
Dude, you have killer lashes. Listen, no, it's like wigs and lashes are coming back. So it's like I'm back to when the late 1960s, early 1970s. Every white woman who I knew wore fake eyelashes and wigs. It was just everyone had wigs in their house. I mean, I'm not going to say, I can't say everyone, but I can say everyone, every woman, right? And so they're back. Can someone say something about that? In here, anyone want to say anything about that? Wigs and lashes? Dude, you got it? Dude, can you pass it up to? You're not rocking a wig, bro.
Alright, so the lashes, it's just lashes. I never really, like, growing up, like, I grew up in like a household, like my mom, my grandma, my little sister, so it was all girls. But like growing up, I didn't really expect like girls really to wear wigs like that anymore, because I thought it was an old thing. Like, I thought like my mom wore wigs, my grandma wore wigs, and I thought like, okay, so the new generation probably won't wear wigs, but they wear them. So,
am I like not? Am I wrong? Am I off base? Like that wigs are really coming back?
No, I feel like wigs are like really recycling. It's kind of like that's what's popping right now.
That's popping now. Yeah. Who's right? Yeah. Can you kick it back to her?
I was going to say, I think one of the reasons why wigs are coming back is because just how like hairstyles is recycling, the way black women are starting to, you know, take control, natural hair movement, and find better ways to like change their hairstyle and not affect their hair at the same time. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, can I actually have a question for a man. Amen. Why do you think this is an important issue in a social class? Dude, can you answer that question at the top? What? Hang on. Why this is an important issue in a social class, or did you have another question?
Yeah, Sam, I was actually going to ask that because the streams asked that a few times. Why do we care about hair? Why do we care about hair? I've heard it like 4 or 5 times. And I want to say, not to answer the question, but I do think it's a relationship difference between our hair. So for instance, for me, I know I wash my hair and dry it in about 4 seconds because I'm losing it, which is great. 4 seconds. But I know like Amari, it's not 4 seconds for her. Like it doesn't take you 4 seconds to dry your hair. So your relationship with your hair is totally different than mine. So that's why it matters for me.
Okay.
That's halfway true.
But hang on though. You got to talk in the mic, and that's still not sociological. But go ahead.
I think that's halfway true, only because that, for example, when we wear wigs, it doesn't take more than 4 seconds to put it on. Like your hair is already braided, you just wake up, you just snap it on, and just walk out. So, and I still think the relationship with it is pretty good.
Bro, we have a question up here.
I'm just kind of confused in general as to why this is up here, like why it's an issue.
And I guess the more that everyone's talking about it, I guess I understand like that black women feel they have their hair type, because like the girl in the front section, she said, what do you think about when white women wear our hairstyle?
Yeah.
But then that makes me ask, like, what if a white woman said, oh, how, like, what happens when like a black woman wears her hair straight? Like,
Yeah.
is that
It's not
offensive
your
to a
hair.
white woman as a, like, is that their hairstyle?
Dude, all right, hang on. I'm gonna ask you to answer that. Do you think you're offending white women?
Hairstyle.
Wait,
Well, I feel like
that's a good question. Thanks for asking that.
I feel like I have like.
Wait, hang on. Ayana's got this.
I feel like I have like kind of an unpopular opinion just about this, and I feel like the whole hair thing, say for braids, for instance, and how it's like, oh, a black woman thing, but if we're going back to the roots of African culture, if we're saying braids like that, women do not wear the same exact braids that's been historically contributed to the African culture, to the mother root. And I don't know.
Can you talk in the mic, please?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're
Is
good.
it-
Hold them.
And I feel like as far as straight hair, like anybody can wear it just like curly hair. Anybody can wear curly hair. I feel like I don't have a strong opinion against it. Like, I mean,
Yeah, I got you. What's
Sam-
unpopular about your opinion?
because I feel like people put like hairstyles to like specific races just because of the fact that a majority of one race wears this, so now it's mine, and nobody else can wear it. That somebody can easily say the same thing as far as people using extensions and saying, oh, that's not your hair. Not saying that it's white woman hair, but say if you're wearing Brazilian hair, that's not your hair.
So your thought is anyone can wear their hair any way they want. It's all cool.
I feel like just like it's a different hairstyle every day. So
Yeah, that's cool. All right, man. Okay. Listen, we have time for one more question.
Sam, answer these people down here.
All right, dog.
I'm just take the mic to one of them.
No, all right.
Which one? Okay.
Dog, we're gonna have to come back to this issue.
With this whole discussion, it is forgotten that like back in the day when black women wore their hair in a certain way, they were judged, they were criticized for it. But now when it becomes popular, when everyone wants to wear it, it's not a big problem anymore. But it's like we take pride in the fact that we're able to wear our hair this way. And the whole anybody can wear their hair straight or whatever, that was pushed on black women to assimilate them into the culture so that they can also look like white women and so they can become that level. And that is forgotten.
No, listen. So here, let me make the final statement here. We'll come back to this, but it really is about the. You know what? What? Yeah. Hey, listen. Wait. Our three bouncers. Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here.
Talk about it.